what's up guys, it's me, Gypsy again. The video I have for you guys today is Stull Cemetery in Kansas. Now, there are graveyards across America, places with names like Bachelor's Grove and Stull Cemetery that define all definitions of haunted cemeteries. They are places that go beyond the legend of merely being haunted and enter into the realm of the diabolical. They are places said to be so terrifying that the devil himself holds court with his worshippers there. Creepy. And in this case of Stull Cemetery in Kansas, is one of the gateways to hell itself. But just how terrifying are these places? Well, there are a few of us who would challenge the supernatural presence of a place like Bachelor's Grove. There are some who claim that Stull Cemetery does not deserve the blood-curdling reputation it has gained. I don't know about that one. Stull Cemetery, an abandoned church that rests next to it, is located in the tiny, nearby, forgotten Kansas town of Stull. There is not much left of the tiny village, save from a few houses, the new church, and about 20 residents. However, the population of the place allegedly contains a number of residents that are from beyond this earth. In addition to its human inhabitants, the town is also home to a number of legends and strange tales that are linked to the crumbling old church and the overgrown cemetery that can be found atop Stull Hill. For years, stories of witchcraft, ghosts, and supernatural happenings have surrounded the old graveyard. It is a place that some claim is one of 7 gateways to hell. The pieces also went... sorry about that. The legend says that these stories have been linked to Stull for more than 100 years. But none of them made it into print until 1970. In November 1974, an article appeared in the University of Kansas students' newspapers that spooked a number of strange occurrences in the Stull churchyard. According to the article, Stull was haunted by legends of diabolical supernatural happenings, and the legend asserted that the cemetery was one of 2 places on earth where the devil appeared in person 2 times each year. It is said that the cemetery has been the source of many legends in the area, stories that have been told and retold for over a century. The piece also went on to say that most students learned of Stull's diabolical reputation from their grandparents and older individuals, but that many of them claimed first-hand encounters with things that could not be explained. One student claimed to have been grabbed by the arm by something unseen, while others spoke of unexplained memory loss when visiting the place. Like many other locations of this type, the tales of devil worshippers and witchcraft also figured strongly into the article. But where the story is actually true, nobody really knows. But such stories have a strong hold on people, and evidenced by the reaction to the article that claimed that the devil would appear in Stull Cemetery on the night of a spring equinox and again on Halloween. On March 20th, 1978, more than 150 people waited in the cemetery for the arrival of the devil. The word also spread that the spirits of those who died violent deaths were buried there who returned from the grave. Unfortunately, the only spirit that showed up that night came in bottles and cans. But this did not stop the stories from spreading. Although in the 1980s and up till today, the stories have been told about Stull Cemetery as time has passed. Most have grown more horrifying and hard to believe. The problem seems to be that the cemetery has a lack of real documented encounters of strange activity. The weird tales seem to be little more than urban legends and second-hand stories from teenagers and college students. One of the stories told of two young men who were visiting Stull Cemetery one night and became frightened when a strong wind began blowing out of nowhere. They ran back to their car only to find that the vehicle had been moved to the other side of the highway and was now facing in the opposite direction. Another man claimed to experience the same anomalous wind, but inside of the church rather than in the graveyard. He claimed that this sinister air curtain knocked him to the floor and would not allow him to move for some time. Incidentally, as is inside of this same church where witnesses say that no rain will fall. Wow. Even though the crumbling building has no roof. The legends also say that the devil has been appearing here since the 1850s. And insist that the original name of the town was Stull, and that the later corruption of that into Stull was simply to cover the fact that the area was steeped in black magic. It was said that the witchcraft practicing earlier settlers were so repetitive about their past deeds that they changed the name of the town. In truth, the town was called Deer Creek Community until 1899, when the last name of the first postmaster, Sylvester Stull, was adopted as the name of the village. The post office closed down in 1903, but the name stuck. In 1980, an article appeared in the Kansas City Times that added further fuel to the rumors about Stull Cemetery and the abandoned church. The article was quite a saying that the devil chooses two places to appear on Earth every Halloween. One of them was the tumbleweed hamlet of Stull, Kansas, and the other, which occurred simultaneously at midnight in some place on the desolate plain of India. From these sites, according to the article, the devil gathers all the people who died violent deaths over the past year for a prance around the earth at the witching hour. But why in Stull? The article added that he appeared in Stull because of an event that took place in the 1850s when a stable hand allegedly stabbed the mayor to death in the cemetery. In an old stone barn. Years later, the barn was converted into a church, which in turn was gutted by fire. A desiccating wood suffix that still hangs from one wall is thought to be sometimes turned upside down when passengers step into the building at midnight. The story neglects to mention that historical speaks neither the Deer Creek community nor Stull have ever had an official mayor. Wow. That is really, really creepy. Wow, guys. Anyway, I'm going to read a little bit more of it. Okay, this author named Lisa Hanford Hees has collected numerous legends that have added to the mythological myths of Stull Cemetery, some of them including the fact that the devil also appears at Stull on the last night of winter or the first night of spring. He comes to visit a witch that is buried there. An old tombstone bearing the name witch is also a gallows for condemned witches. These are also said to be graves in the cemetery that holds the bones of the child of Satan, who was born of the devil and a witch. The child was so deformed that he only lived for a few days, and the body was buried in Stull. Some say that his ghost may walk here, as there supposedly was a photo taken a few years ago that showed a werewolf-like boy peering out from behind a tree. Wow. One of the strangest stories about Stull supposedly appears in Time magazine. It says it didn't, in either 1993 or 1995, depending on the version that you hear. These stories claim that Pope John Paul II allegedly ordered his private plane to fly around eastern Kansas while on his way to a public appearance in Colorado. The reason for this, the story claims, was that the Pope did not want to fly over unholy ground. Wow. It must be that disturbing that even the Pope doesn't want to go over it. The legend grew, and by 1989, the crowd at the graveyard on Halloween night has become so overwhelming that the Douglas County Sheriff's Department had to station deputies outside to send people on their way. They handed out tickets for criminal trespassing to anyone caught on the property. It was believed that nearly 500 people came to the cemetery on Halloween night in 1988, doing damage to the church and gravestone, prompting a police response the following year. Wow. Wow, guys. That is really, really interesting history about this place. Wow. I decided to look it up because I found it kind of interesting. I'd seen it before, but what I had read before didn't really sound that great. I don't know. But now that I looked it up again, wow. Wow. And I will have more videos for you guys soon. And if you guys have any places you want me to look up, just leave it in the comments down below and I will write it down. I promise I will write it down and I will look it up. It might take me a couple days or so, but I will look it up. I promise. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. It's up to you. You don't have to. Just say you don't have to. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great night, and I will have more videos for you guys soon.